How are you, my
stability
dear
system,
friends?
which has
Welcome
probably
to a
saved
new
more
journey in
lives
today's
than any other
Cascaran.
system.
We're going to sail, but we're going to sail through the air. Lately, we do it very often, and I throw the question directly to you: dare you to fly? Oh, to think of an airplane traveling through the air. In an aircraft, there would be no human pilot. On board is a question I think interesting and really interesting to start with. Well, we are not in that situation right now. But if in the aeronautics industry and aircraft manufacturers are developing different models and different types of flight assistance systems are increasingly trying to automate or at least create systems to assist pilots to automate certain situations that occur in any type of operation and can help pilots to work with greater situational awareness, basically as they say to that psychological situation in place, where it is, what do you have, what to do, and what's going on around aeronautics as the rest of the sectors evolve technologically. And although the revolution in aeronautics in the navigation and the utilization of the aircraft are going very slow for the amount of technical requirements and to pass, the truth is that new dual assistance systems may end up directly invoking the aircraft from assisting pilots in certain tasks to replacing them, and this marks a paradigm shift in terms of aircraft piloting. In this video, we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about how the Airbus Dragonfly project is just on the threshold of starting to introduce these systems. Let's take a look. What's going on? If you ask a pilot, while having an emergency assistance system to divert the aircraft in a correct way in a cab assistance system, that is, while on the ground taxiing on the runways and access to them, or directly allowed to make an automatic landing in situations in the capabilities of a human being, they are not capable of being able to safely take a pilot from a plane to the ground. How are you, my dear friends? Welcome to a new journey in today's Cascaran. We are going to sail, but we are going to sail through the air. Lately we do so often, and I throw the question directly to you. Do you dare to fly? Oh, think about an airplane traveling through the air in an aircraft where there would be no human pilot on board. It's a question, I think, interesting and really, well, we are not in that situation right now, but we are in the aeronautics industry, and aircraft manufacturers are developing different models, different types of flight assistance systems, heading in a direction where they are increasingly trying to automate or, at least, to create pilot assistance systems. Automate certain situations that occur frequently in any type of operation and can help pilots to work with greater situational awareness. Basically, as they say in aviation, to be aware of the situation they are in, what they have to do, and what is happening around them. Aeronautics, like all other industries, is evolving technologically. And although the revolution in aeronautics, in navigation, and in the use of aircraft is going very slowly due to the number of technical requirements that must be met, the truth is that new flight assistance systems are on the horizon that may eventually lead to aircraft going from assisting pilots in certain tasks to replacing them, and this marks a paradigm shift in terms of aircraft piloting. In this video, we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about how Airbus Dragonfly project is just about to introduce these systems. Let's take a look at what's going on. If you ask a pilot if he would like to have an emergency assistance system to divert the aircraft in a correct way, a ground assistance system, i.e. while taxiing on the runways of an airport, or directly a system that would allow to make an automatic landing in situations where human capabilities are not sufficient to bring an aircraft safely to the ground, surely a pilot would say yes. Of course, as long as the safety of operations is not reduced. That's where the debate begins on all these issues. If this idea is compared to automobiles, we have seen how in recent years a number of driving assistance systems known as ADAS, which help avoid accidents or make driving more comfortable, have begun to proliferate. In the same way, an autopilot in an airplane helps a pilot to steer the aircraft in certain flight situations, such as at high altitude and on a fixed course, without having to be aware of so many controls. These driving assistance systems have greatly reduced accidents on the road, starting with the control of stability system, which has probably saved more lives than any other system.
Aquí tienes el texto en inglés, sin los títulos de bloque.
Subsequently, more sophisticated traction control systems and wheel braking have led to a new generation of driving assistance systems. These systems not only intervene when the car detects that it is in a critical situation, but they also anticipate dangerous situations, such as automatic braking before an obstacle. Well, all of this applied to aeronautics has its differences, but conceptually, Many of the electronic and software solutions used in today's cars to make driving increasingly autonomous can also be transferred to the world of aviation and flight. Installing new sensors and, above all, a new generation of cameras can help and assist pilots in performing their work more safely. Here, two fundamental characteristics and circumstances emerge. It is very important to understand that the world of air navigation has nothing to do with the world of automobiles, although both sectors increasingly depend on electronics. However, there is a common point: the role of electronics and sensors, including cameras, and how information processing systems can assist in each context, whether on land or in the air, to manage situations more safely. Throughout the history of aeronautics, technological evolutions in aircraft control have been slow. Although significant, they progress slowly, and essentially, today's aircraft fly with instrumentation very similar to that of 60 years ago. One of the most important advances was the introduction of certain new navigation systems, which transitioned from analog clocks to digital displays. Among them, the most important is probably the ILS, Instrument Landing System, which provides landing assistance. In a subsequent evolution, the arrival of more accurate GPS and airport beacons has allowed pilots to land in places where it was previously practically impossible. The certainty in balancing risk and benefit has changed, and what was once not recommended is now possible. All the assistance that pilots receive today, even with information on head-up displays and highly advanced navigation and mapping systems, has led to significant innovation. But regarding the presence of human pilots in the cockpit, there is a key factor that makes a difference. If something defines the world of aviation, it is redundancy. Following an analogy with Gruyere cheese, it's like placing a series of cheese slices in parallel so that the holes don't align, ensuring that if there's a flaw in one layer, the next one will stop it. This is essentially redundancy, having duplicated or tripled systems so that if the primary one fails, there is always a secondary one that can perform the same function. Among many other things, this is what makes airplanes so safe. If we look at the evolution of pilots in the cockpit, it's interesting to see how there has been a significant reduction in personnel. In the early days of aviation, there were 4 people in the cockpit. In addition to the pilot and co-pilot, there was a flight engineer responsible for the aircraft's systems and control, and a navigator. Over time, these roles gradually disappeared, first the navigator and then the flight engineer, until reaching a consensus where only 2 people remained in the cockpit: pilot and co-pilot. Despite this reduction in personnel, air safety has improved considerably. We are now at a point where technological evolution has allowed the number of people in the cockpit to be reduced without compromising and even improving the safety of operations. However, when discussing redundancy, an important question arises. If, in the future, we remove one of the crew members, we are left with only one person, and they could face any number of problems, whether physical or related to orientation. In such a case, the aircraft would need to be capable of performing certain maneuvers on its own, as there would be no other operational personnel available. This is where ethical dilemmas and concerns arise about breaking the long-standing agreement to always have 2 people in the cockpit, the pilot and co-pilot. This is particularly interesting for those who are unfamiliar with the matter, as they might think the co-pilot's role is merely to assist in emergencies. However, in reality, the pilot and co-pilot work in tandem. The pilot, with more experience and flight hours, holds the title of captain, but the tasks within the plane are divided between both individuals. Flight duties are shared between the pilot and co-pilot to ensure a safer and more efficient navigation. The co-pilot plays a crucial role in ensuring that the flight can be completed successfully. Their role is far from anecdotal today. On the contrary, due to the physical demands and fatigue that pilots face, the collaboration between both is essential. Faced with this reality, companies like Airbus and Boeing, especially Airbus, have started to work and develop systems like the Dragonfly project. This project aims, among other things, to develop technologies that, in the future, could automate many of the tasks that currently require the presence of 2 people in the cockpit. This includes systems that would allow the plane to land safely if something were to happen to the pilot. These types of technologies are still in development, and it will take time before they are widely implemented, but the direction is clear. Automation continues to advance.